Hi, this is Desiree Dubois, founder of An Empowered Woman and Homework. Homework is where you can live where you work, work where you live, anywhere in the world. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Bobbie Casalino Lewis, who is a style motivator with wealthy, fashionably, oh my goodness,
Fashionably wealthy.
fashionably wealthy. And we met her years ago. She was doing it for over a decade. Years ago, she participated in the Power Seven. And we are preparing for our big 5 day free Power 7 Summit from November the 2nd through the 6th, every day from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And I encourage people that this is a summit where there'll be hundreds of other people and to show up as if they were going to a live event, show up as if they were, really going somewhere and how they want to present themselves. So there'll be networking, there'll be brainstorming, they'll be meeting different speakers. So lots of us, because we're working at home and because we're thinking that it's very casual, which it can be, we have gotten very lax with the way that we show up. Do you agree, Bobbie?
Yeah, especially in the beginning. Saw some things that you can't unsee, right?
That's a great line. Can't unsee it. Exactly. And some people have been caught off guard, as we know. So tell us a little about what you do as a style motivator, fashion motivator, and
Mhm.
style motivator, and what you suggest.
Sure. Happily. Well, the thing of it is that I dress people for the day they want, not just necessarily the day they were given. And that was a sub branding that I put into place right at the beginning in March. I think it was April 4th. I did my first video, and I talked about my journey through it. And for 48 days in a row, I posted a video about dressing for the day you want by talking about dressing for the day I wanted and how I put myself together that day. And um, and it was really an interesting journey because I did some research because I write for a magazine, so I had to do some research about, what's the psychological and the scientific effect of what you put on yourself and how you project and how you cognitively think and how you speak and how you sit and a whole lot of other things that go along with it that I wasn't really sure of. I thought what I did was kind of fluffy, but now I know it's not fluffy anymore. It's very important work. And how you show up, we're visual creatures. So, you lay eyes on someone, and within 15 seconds, even less, they say 7, but within 15 seconds, you have made a decision about that person. Your mind has, because you've seen them. And, uh, and that visual impression is 60,000 times faster than anything you can say and have
Amazing.
impact. Yeah, it really is amazing.
Wow.
So, because our brain just kind of takes slices, constantly taking these little millisecond slices. And that's what it's triggering to our brain. So the brain, is prepared to fight, flight, or stay, right? So that's how our brain is sending signals to the rest of our body, and that's how we wind up perceiving. And I think people maybe have made a mistake in thinking that you can't have that same interaction, you can't have that same read over video, but you can.
Yes, yes, it
You
is.
can.
So, what are some of the thoughts when you say what kind of day you want or dress the way day you want? What are some of the thoughts, for example, like you said you did for 48 days. So, was it different every day?
Yeah,
And
because I was dressing for the day I wanted to have because we were still in lockdown.
mhm.
Right? And nobody was communicating very much. You certainly weren't going out very much, and getting dressed for a lot became drudgery. I
Right.
took it and flipped the coin. I thought, well, this is an opportunity. So there were days where I came in here to make calls or, get on the phone or get on a Zoom with someone that I actually had pumps on because that was the day I wanted to have.
Mhm.
So I was dressing as if I was showing up to to meet with that person in or those people in person, and what would I wear if I were doing that. So, and even to the point of putting on a little bit of perfume. I
Well, I can
mean,
see how that psychologically would, if
all of it. Yeah. So there were days where I needed to lift myself up a little bit. So those were the days I put on bright color and I put on a red lipstick, and I did some other things that would lift me up. There were other days where I wanted to be quiet and mellow, and those are the days I got into real comfortable clothes. And but I kept them clean, and I kept them, I've gone through all my drawers and there's nothing ragtag anymore. So those natty sweatpants and the hoodie and other things that maybe would be our go-to
Mhm.
for a while, I just said, no, I'm just going to get rid of that and I'm going to get dressed. And the other thing that I always recommended during this time was at least once a week, particularly for the ladies, but the guys too, was to put on a pair of pants that had to zipper and button so that your waistline didn't get away from you, right? Because you don't have to weigh yourself. You don't have to weigh yourself if you're putting your clothes on and they fit or they don't fit.
That's
So,
a little bit pounds. So you must have found certain colors, certain styles, I mean, prints, no prints, designs, patterns that work better on camera or that less or more distracting than others. What are your thoughts?
um, yeah, yeah, prints are typically a little difficult, especially if they're big and splashy.
Mhm,
Because the thing of it is you want, see how what I'm wearing? I have a V that's pointing up to my face.
mhm,
Right? So the whole object is to look into someone's eyes and to see them, so you don't want too much volume. So I wore something today that's nice and trim and the collar isn't flapping all over. You notice there's no sound of jewelry, so there's no jingle jangle, yet I'm still accessorized. And and then I took out, there's no volume because this is a nice, snug fit. And I do have pants bottoms, bottoms on, but they're good looking, but they're more comfortable
mhm,
because if you're going to be sitting for any amount of time, you need to be comfortable,
mhm.
you know? So, but they, if you have a green screen behind you, one of those, now everybody's gotten all sorts of equipment, they're certified
Producer.
producers anymore, right?
Producer.
So if you have a green screen behind you and you do one of those, virtual backgrounds, you have
Mhm,
to be careful not to wear green,
okay.
and watch your colors because you'll slip off the screen. The other thing is you need to be cognizant of your background because I don't match my background, but I don't conflict with it either.
Mhm,
So you need to be able to stand out in and try to get your lighting as palpable and as flattering as possible. And if you notice, I'm not looking down here, which would be looking at myself in the screen, but I'm looking up here at the lens so that looks like I'm looking straight at you. So
okay.
you don't trail off. It's hard because you want to you want to glance over, but just keep looking at that little green light up there, and you'll be in good shape.
So anything else that you've seen, like we've all seen some of the disasters, so to speak, anything else that you, as far as, what I attest is that when you go to meetings and when you go to, like, we have at the summit for ladies to be able to dress, and it makes them feel good, like they're actually going to do something. And again, to be able to dress as if they were actually going to the event. Anything else that you'd recommend before we close our call up today?
Oh, okay. Well, I think comfort is important,
Hmm.
and it needs to be clean and tidy. The same
Okay.
thing as if you were out because and your grooming. I think your grooming needs to be just as important. But you and the other thing is that you need to be on brand for who you are.
Hmm.
I dress people. If I showed up, not looking like I do what I do, then you wouldn't give me that much credence. And show up that way every time, not just the one time,
Mhm.
but show up on brand. Whenever you turn on that camera, show up on brand.
Yes, I think I really encourage that. Another thing also we kept in mind is that your backgrounds. I know we were doing the other summit. If was against a dark background, then I wore something light, so there was a contrast there. I stood out. If I was
Mhm.
wearing something that's light, then I wore something darker, so that I didn't blend in with my background.
Yeah,
You know,
same
and
thing
then
on
also,
stage. Yeah,
yeah.
same thing as on stage.
Yeah, yeah, safely, and then even just in coloring, there's some colors that were look better. So I actually got in front of the camera before the event and see what red looked like on me, what orange looked like on me, what a tan looked like me. Tan was not a good color for me on camera because it's kind of faded in. You can see even the light pink it was not a good because it faded in, or the
Mhm.
salmon color. So really, actually, take the time to get in front of your Zoom camera, your camera, and see what different colors and different backgrounds pop. Some of them made me pop, some of them made me a little more looked fresher. And like you said, mentioned even the necklines. Some necklines, if it was high up, and my hair blended into it, and there was no distinction between the two. So just different little things. Have fun with it, but actually pay attention to it. And then once you get that system down, you have that camera wardrobe and have the wardrobe ready.
Mhm. And if
Yep.
you do any regular calls, ask the people on the call.
Mm,
Take a little survey.
yeah.
And you can see once you see yourself in gallery view, you can see if you're standing out or not.
Yes. Yes. Well, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this because again, we
Um,
thought this was going to be temporary. We thought this was going to be, for a short term, and now it looks like it's going to be an ongoing thing. So now having that wardrobe and having that presence is going to be really important. So tell everybody what you do in even more detail and how they can contact you.
Well, I work with you to take your message and find your style and bring it out and then wrap you in it. And most of the time, you have enough pieces in your closet that if they're reconfigured, will absolutely give you a much more polished and a much more robust look. So that's where I start. Shopping is sort of the last thing we do because that's why I call myself fashionably wealthy because you already have those assets.
Mhm.
So it makes sense to use them. And been doing styling all over the world over Zoom for years now because it's so good to see people on the screen. So you can really I take a picture of them and then they see exactly how they look. So it's wonderful. And just watching people you can see the change in their coloring, their just how they exude and how much different they feel and affirmed when things from their own closet, maybe with sleeves rolled up or accessories put together a different way or colors just jiggled around, how much of a difference it makes. So yeah, helping people feel good about themselves is really the baseline of what I do.
Fantastic. Now, I know that I was introduced to you a while ago through the Power Seven. You attended the Power Seven program, and you're one of our proud grads. Just in closing, what do you feel that the Power Seven, has helped or assisted or enlightened you to be able to build a new career?
Mhm. Well, I transitioned out of a 40-year corporate career. I was an international executive in telecommunications. And so it's a total natural progression to move over into style, right? Someone says. But it's where my heart is. It's definitely where my heart is. But so when I attended Power of Seven, I think I was still in the corporate world. So I
Oh,
was starting to try and find my footing as what did I want to do and what was my brand. And I went through a couple of different names, and this one's staying. This one's staying. But I went through a couple of different brands. But what I found with Power Seven, and I can tell you, I could probably still tell you the 7 steps today, the sequence that they were in, and how relevant they still are. It was foundational for me. Now, I didn't do a lot of it then, and I think I finally deleted the original video that you had us do. Table. I mean, it was horrible. It was but that's but it doesn't matter. You need to do it. So now video, I love video. I video all the time. But I found that it was truly, in retrospect, m- in even more foundational than I realized it was at the time. So all the things you recommended about taking one piece of content and breaking it up and doing it here and putting it over there and doing a video, doing a blog, doing a vlog, doing a podcast, doing this, doing that, and I now write articles for magazines, and trust me, they are repurposed.
Awesome, awesome. Sometimes you just never know. Sometimes you don't know how and when and where you're going to be able to utilize it. So it's just great tools. So I'm inviting everyone, encouraging everyone to join us next week. That's November the 2nd through the 6th, 9 to 12 p.m. I mean 9 to 12 noon. And we have a lot of surprises, a lot of information, a lot of grads that will be sharing their different journeys with it. And Bobbie, I know you are going to you do complimentary consultations or
Mhm.
virtual consultations. So just share with them where they need to go to be able to get those consultations.
Oh yeah, come to my website. Come and visit. You
Which
can find
is,
me on all social media, but come to my website. It's fashionablywealthy.com. And there's a style quiz that you can take. So that'll sort of scooch your 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 style into a little bit smaller pile. So you maybe if you feel like you're all over, and then book a consult with me, and we'll talk about your style.
Okay, sounds good enough. So
Mhm.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to look forward to seeing everyone next week. And until we meet again, stay empowered.
Mhm.